Now welcome back everybody to the flight simulator. Today we are on board a very special plane, and yes, that is of course the Cirrus Vision Jet SF50. Now this plane is quite special. I described it before as the easiest plane to fly, to start up especially. I mean seriously, I know cars that are more complex than this. To start it all up, really, I only have to turn on the battery switches right here and the engine ignition switch. And this is a jet. This is a flying, functioning jet. I mean, you know, seriously, the hardest part about using this plane probably is those Garmin panels here, but those aren't really hard to use then either, right? This is absolutely ridiculously easy of a plane to fly. Now I made a video on the Cirrus plane being very easy to fly like a few months ago, but you guys asked me, well, you know what, Swiss? This is a private plane, obviously, can only seat 5 people. How about airliners? What is the easiest airliner that can fly passengers around to fly? And I thought about this a little bit, and I came to the conclusion that maybe the A350 is the easiest airliner to fly around. Yep, this is what the Airbus A350 cockpit looks like. Yeah, it's basically just a flying iPad or something. It's just a lot of touch screens right here. Some few switches, but this is overall an extremely simplistic aircraft. Yeah, this is just what it looks like here in the flight simulator. And oh yeah, this is really not that much of a complicated looking cockpit, is it? I mean, especially considering this is such a magnificent plane, this A350. Look how huge it is. It's a big, long-range airliner. I mean, we really have come a long way. We recently tried here on the channel starting up this kind of plane here as well, the 747-200, a plane from the 60s. And I mean, just look at it, how this cockpit looks. By the way, we did manage to actually get the plane from not being started up to actually flying within like 8 minutes, which I'm actually quite proud. I mean, look at the cockpit right here. Yeah, I would prefer something like this. There, here we go. Yeah, let's actually go ahead and give this plane a try as well. Start it up. It's right now not started up, so let's do that real quick. Very quick. With the least amount of switches possible. I think everyone can actually use this plane seriously after like 1 day of training. Okay, so we of course need electricity on board, so let's just go and turn on the batteries. Here we go. And I guess we can already turn on the APU, which is the auxiliary power unit. Also important to turn on the plane. And for the mere engine startup, we only now need to turn on the fuel here. There we go. This is also important for the APU to turn on properly. That's all we need to do. And then press the APU bleed switch. There we go. And that's all we'll need to get these engines basically started up, alright? So engine start, switch, turn to ignition, and put that on. Here we go, and we can already see, there we go, we can see engine spinach going on. The engine is seriously starting to spin. Here we go, I'm not joking. This literally took like 5 presses or something. Great. And we can see those magnificent Rolls-Royce engines start up. All right, since the left one is already starting up, as you can see here on the screen, it's already also turned on the right one. There we go. And when it comes to merely starting up both engines, that's all we need to do now. That's crazy. I mean, only one simple more step than the Cirrus plane. But to actually get this plane safely off the ground, we need to do a little bit more. For example, we need to actually get those instruments running. For that, I'm going to turn on these switches. That's all we need to do as well. These little knobs actually allow the plane to find itself in the GPS, like find the GPS position, right? Now, another cool thing about the simplicity of Airbus cockpits is that all these switches that say off on them are basically just to be turned on. There we go. So just go and turn them all on, and that'll actually get the plane started up in no time. That's generally what we have to do. There we go. Get all of that going. This is, by the way, not advice on how to start up this plane. I'm just kind of freestyling out here. But you can tell in a second or two this is actually going to work. Turn on the APU generator. There we go. Already our instruments are mostly running. And let's just get rid of all these off switches here. Indeed. Nice. And after all of that is clean, we can take off. Full power. Come on. There we go. I mean, come on. It could be worse, right? I mean, yeah, you would have to, you know, kind of get into starting up this plane first, but this can be literally done within like 2 minutes. There we go. Now we do have a lot of warnings down here. For example, I did forget to put the flaps. The flaps run down. Uh-oh. All right, let's maybe try to do this takeoff anyway. This is not a long runway. I think this is gonna maybe fail. Come on, take off. We need to get liftoff. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, quite close to an overrun, but that's gone very well. Anyway, here we go, A350. We are off the ground and we are safe. I literally just started up the plane for the first time, right? Now, yes, I do have to admit, any Airbus pilot watching this, like anyone who can fly this plane like extremely properly, has probably died inside while watching this startup because it's been totally wrong. But it's worked. Yeah, that's like the thing about all these Airbus planes. They are so easy and simple to start up. They just actually, if I'm being honest, make sense. Also, from the handling part, yes, this plane actually handles quite nicely. We can already come in for a landing right here. Yeah, with all the flight computers and everything going on, this is a very safe plane, and indeed actually a very hard plane to crash, okay? Which is a good thing, by the way. All right, so let's already come in for a landing. Let's get the auto brake turned on. There we go. Everything is armed. And let's just complete this full flight right here by doing a proper smooth landing. All right, landing coming up. See, these Airbus planes aren't very hard to butter either. Most of them are quite butter machines. Come on. Shh. All right, get down to this 1,200 meter long runway. Come on. Oh, okay, that's been a hard, I'm sorry. Aren't very hard to butter either. I'm sorry, I'll just take back what I said about the butter landing. Yeah, let's go ahead and quickly stop the plane. Come on, just don't disappoint me, plane. Here we go, just don't die, okay? Yeah, just like the thing about the A350, it's known for needing a bit of a runway. Put it that way, okay? That's not gone very, but that's, you know, if we have a long runway, then this is totally fine of a plane to fly. Great. But no, seriously, something that might look a little complicated is this down here. This is mostly TCAS, things that you barely even use. This is mostly for communication. Be stuff like, I don't know what this even is. Video. Oh, Jesus Christ, we have video. That's like the thing. This plane is so modern that it has cameras inside. I mean, why not? I mean, this is so unnecessary as well. Great. But yeah, let me just actually try to make a proper landing here, though. Come on. Get the plane nicely slow here in the desert of California. This is now a long enough runway, I would think. I mean, the space shuttle lands at this airport. Or, well, it used to. The only thing I find a little bit weird about flying this aircraft is that how fast it flies. Like, it doesn't slow down properly. See, our engines right now are totally on idle, and we cannot really slow down further than 140 knots, which makes it a little bit hard to get this plane properly touched down. But yeah, from the handling, this is so easy. Okay, come on. Retard. Plane just called me a retard. That's a normal Airbus thing. Oh yes, that's been okay of a let. Maybe a little bit of a tail strike, actually. Let's check this out. Let's go ahead and turn on the reverse thrust. Here we go. Let's make sure the brakes totally work completely. There we go. And we're coming in for a nice stop. All right. Everybody, just have a look at this absolutely beautiful flare angle right here. Nice. So yeah, that is, you know, modern planes. They are quite a lot simpler to fly, simply because most of these systems that, you know, all these engineers in the cockpits used to do are mostly automated by the computers, which actually is great because that, you know, makes the planes safer because the pilots can focus on the important things, like scrolling through the internets. Great. By the way, these seats are quite ugly, but that's all right. That's all right. That right here, Fleck. Is that literally right now the user's guide of this plane? Great. I mean, just imagine walking to the cockpit and you see this right here. Why is the pilot's reading the user's guide? Great. So yeah, guys, that is just nice. Save your planes equals betters, and I'll see you guys tomorrow as always. Good night.
Now, thank you to my members here on YouTube like Block, Emite, Mubarak, Mike, Ethan, Darren, Stefan, Ian, Oman the Human, Rafael Brukowski, Junk in the Trunk, Moritz, Toby, Great Grandpa John, Government Pasta, Calamity Airlines, Kelly Chaos, New York, Tyler Park, Cheese Doritos, Shadow, Anime Planes 001, X-Men Shoulder, Deslama, featuring Kellen, Me By You, Captain Cameron, Spiro, Gary, Norwegian, Bajel, and Parology.